radio. Here we go with the steady flow. I'm the best since sliced bread, but you already know how it goes when me and Tay be composing.
For all my free market healthcare robbing, stock stealing, retirement fund nigga. Little credit card scamming, jewelry stealing, crack selling, liquor store robbing. Shout to the homies, Carnegie, OG, Willie Randolph Hearst, Baruch, Rockefeller, the real Rockefeller, my main Leona, pour out a little Louis the 13th, Scott Rothstein, Jack Abramoff, hold your head, my Rothschild. Get this money! I spend my day peppering America overseas, pension for the work. Embezzlement, etiquette, private settlement. I'm better with Confederate rhetoric from my mansion in Connecticut. Foreclosure Vic hoes out the tenement. I twist words like a speech impediment. I hope you got good credit. Not better get a new job with benefits while I play golf with cheddar with new money.
Different things like, and we're kind of separated into committees depending on what issues we feel most passionate about. Like we have a home foreclosure committee. There was a committee for May Day and different stuff like that, like education and stuff. So I mean, it's all about human rights. I mean, that's, if you want a general like overview, you know, it's just the right to exist. And exist in a world that doesn't include economic injustice.
There's libertarians, there's Democrats, there's various different political ideologies. Different people have different ideas, and so we come together and talk, argue, we try to, anything that we all reach consensus that we think is important, we'll do.
This is a non-party movement. I mean, we're not, we're not part of any sort of party. We don't look to be.
What exactly is like the 1% or 99% about like an exact thing? This kind of symbolism?
It's to me it's symbolic, but it's very demonstrative that, you know, such a few number of people own so much of the private property in the United States, and the vast majority of us are shut out of that. We don't have access or a say in how our society is constructed, because we don't have the money to buy the politicians to get, you know, society constructed in a way that makes sense to us. So without that, with the 1% in control of, you know, every aspect of our political environment, then we need something else, and that's what the GA process is. It's access to a democratic, you know, consensus building thing to take action, to do things that we think need to be done. It's largely the wealthiest people in you know, the world, and so I mean, you know, there's I'm trying to think of his name. Well, the family that owns Walmart.
Oh,
so Walden's, right? Walden's.
Sorry.
And they, for instance, spent a lot of money on an organization called ALEC, which was a lobbying firm that pushed all kinds of these neoliberal and right-wing and all these other bills through Congress that were completely against the interest of the vast majority of people in the society, but in the interest of Walmart, in the interest of you know, large corporations that paid ALEC to do this, right?
So basically they spend that money in politics to benefit.
Yeah.
Yes, they buy laws that are beneficial to them and shut out their competition, shut out their people that want to unionize, you know, basically do things that are in their own interest and against the interests of people that aren't
us to get into office here at City Hall, the budget for campaigning is $1 million. Yeah, so that's like the lowest somebody spent to campaign for themselves to get in. So, I mean, if I wanted to run for office, I'd be running like a $100 budget, you know, but it's still my right, but am I going to win up against somebody who has $1 million?
The mortgage-backed security baskets, and that's all the stuff that the taxpayers wound up bailing out because that huge bubble collapsed. And that's what they did with their money. And they made foolish policy that now we all suffer. And so we have this completely economy because fabulously wealthy people acted foolishly and greedily. And we need to take that back. We need to get control and do what's in our interest. And all we have are numbers. And that's why we have to work together. And
It is.
right, but unfortunately only the rich are fighting it. And so we're trying to, it's not, you know, framing it that way frames the Occupy movement as, you know, a leftist organization. And not everybody in the Occupy movement necessarily will agree with that framing. I do, I'm a leftist, but I don't want to give the impression that, right, and that's one of the things, like a lot of the things I think are, that's why I don't speak for the movement, that's why talking to me, you're talking to me, and I'm saying what I think. Right, no, it's a leaderless movement, and so, you know, somebody else is going to say, no, it's not class war, it's, you know, a different paradigm or explanation. Everything from a religious explanation to...
do you think it's expanding or getting smaller?
The Occupy movement is, on the local level, some parts of it are getting bigger. I mean, May Day already happened, and a lot of those people have just crashed because they were so busy organizing and they're exhausted. They'll be back, but like right now it feels like it shrunk. But that's why this GA was so small today, you know, because they're just, a lot of people are really tired, they put a lot of work into May Day, and now they're sort of trying to get their lives back together. I think that they're both going to sell policy to the same people. They're going to do what they're paid to do, and they're just going to market differently and make speeches differently.
Because look at Obama's campaign before the last election. You know, he marketed hope and change, and then he went and signed the NDAA, which says that anybody can be marked a terrorist and held, or you know, can be detained for anything. So that's definitely against you know, people's rights, and that's not something that I think he would have marketed before he did when he was
He promised to end the wars.
Yeah.
He promised to close Guantanamo Bay. He promised, you know, a whole lot of things. And then the one big victory he had is the healthcare reform bill, which is a bill that was written by the insurance company telling us all we have to buy insurance. You know, if I was an insurance company, gee whiz, thanks. Now I got a whole bunch of new customers that have to buy my product because the government said so. And that's not, you know, for me, I mean, the obvious answer is a public system, a non-for-profit, one-payer system that would reduce all of that 40% profit that goes into health insurance to either going into care or cheaper costs for premiums. It doesn't, yeah, people fall for it. It's brilliant, yes. But it's not working. Thank you.
Thank you for being interested.